University men's soccer history. He won 146 games with the Huskies and was granted Coach Emeritus status last fall. Please welcome to the podium, Paul Payne.
Thank you. I was hoping to type up and print out a speech tonight, but I retired. I don't have the computer anymore, a printer, so bear with me. Here they are, Fairfield Inn. Just saying, congratulations to the members of the Hall of Fame, and especially to the 2018 Hall of Fame. It's an incredible achievement for you and your families, and I keep talking about family because as players and coaches, we're family, and I know the parents come to the games and they see that, but you don't know what goes on in the locker room and in the classroom with your teachers and your coaches. And that's special. So if I get emotional, Megan, it's because I'm talking about my family, Adam Clay, being one of my sons, which, yeah. So it's special for me because it is Adam. He's my first that played for me at Bloomsburg, and I've been wanting this, and I'm incredibly happy and proud of Adam, everything he's done at Bloomsburg, but even beyond that, by still giving back to the game and giving back to people. And that's important. You heard me talk about this before, if you actually listen to me. But in sport, it doesn't matter what sport you play, there's 4 components to sport. There's the technical aspect. Adam, technically skilled. It's debatable, but we'll give him an average. Fitness. Those that follow soccer, he had an engine like Stevie Gerrard. He would run from box to box, and if teammates didn't run with him, he'd give them some stick. You couldn't ask for any more about him than that. We ran one time at a 5K race. If you remember Adam down at the river. Molly, my daughter, was 8 and ran. And Adam, being the person he is, smoked the whole field because that's what Adam was about. Tactically, the decision-making of the sport. One time one of the players came off and said, "Coach, we don't know what Adam's doing." I said, "Well, I don't either, but whatever's happening, man, he's doing pretty good. So why don't you just do what Adam does?" And then the last piece, and it's the hardest thing to coach, and I know there's coaches out here that are my colleagues that I respect, I miss the game tremendously. It's the psychological aspect. It's that heart and that emotional and physical and psychological mental all together, what makes them special. And this is where Adam, by far, in my 30-some years of coaching, exceeded every player I've ever worked with. He was the most competitive person I've ever coached in everything he did, whether it was that 5K race, in a training session 1v1, or in a match versus East Stroudsburg or Lock Haven or all the other great games we had. And I leave you with this, and Adam, don't take this the wrong way, and I'll step back for a second. You can look at all Adam's stats. I don't know what they are, but I think they're pretty good, right? You're in the Hall of Fame in a couple minutes here. But, you know, when the great athlete, Secretary, passed away, it's a racehorse. So, well, why is Adam being compared to a racehorse? Well, stay with me. They found out that Secretariat's heart was twice the size of an average racehorse. Adam Clay had the heart of a champion, as Secretary was. I can't tell you how proud I am to introduce Adam Clay, 2018 Hall of Fame World Champion.
I actually did take some notes this time. My wife strongly encouraged. You know, hearing those things from Paul, you know, I'm not usually an emotional guy when it comes down to it, but, you know, it really does hit how important this moment can be for us. Just all the inductees, I think we all know how special this moment really is. And I'm just thankful that so many of my friends and family are here to enjoy it with me. But, so I'll try to get through this and make sure I cover everybody. So when I found out about that I was going to be in the Hall of Fame, I was ecstatic. I didn't really tell many people as much as I wanted to tell the world. I just felt really humbled by this whole moment. My friends were very quick to mention that my wife is a 3-time national champ and scored a game-winning goal in a national final. So basically, but in this one, I'll be okay taking second place on that. But I think I would trade for that goal. But I'm very honored and very much appreciate everything. I want to thank the staff, the athletic administration, and the Hall of Fame committee. I know I forgot to do that in my first speech as a coach at Penn State Harrisburg, so luckily they kept me on another year. Been there a couple years since, but just thank you so much for everything you guys have put on. This is really a special moment, and thank you for that. I'd also like to thank some coaches. John Campbell, he was the 2003 men's assistant. He really taught me what sacrifice and hard work can earn for you. Spent a lot of time with me individually. He was eating peanut butter and jellies, and I was just, a lot of the things that he did really stuck with me. Chris Chappell, my high school coach, taught me to die in the box. And that basically meant you just give everything on both ends, defensive or offensively. It's something that stuck with me, and I made sure to try to pass on. My U11 travel coach, I can't remember his name, but he was the first coach that really, I think, had true belief in me and said one day, hey, you make it to the pros. And I can't remember his name, but I remember him telling me that. And just all my Bloom teammates. We really, I think, built a bond that can't be broken. I think you see that at the alumni event that Paul gets all the credit for, and the guys look forward to every year. We want to be back there, and we forget that we're in our mid-30s or 40s or 50s or 60s, and we've got all kinds of ages there, and we're just all back to being 18 to 22-year-olds and just being in Bloomsburg, having some of the time of your lives. Specifically, I'd like to thank Phil Bikino, Chris Cummings, Dustin Henry, and the Wright brothers for taking myself, Pomps, and D-Man under their wing and teaching us what leadership and being a real good teammate was. They really did that, and I think we tried to pass that on as it went through. Speaking of Greg Pompey and Derek Smith, they were my best friends going through basically freshman year on. They're still my best friends to this day, and I think that really shows the kind of experience and memories that you build from Bloomsburg, and again, they last. That's not going away. We see each other once a year, usually sometimes twice if you have the alumni game in, and we're not trying to stop that ever. I want to thank them both for waking me up early for road games, because I think I might have missed one or two if it weren't for them, that's for sure. For spending 2 hours pretty much every night after practice, sitting in the commons, just hanging out, just, having fun together. We were not hanging out looking for girls, I promise. And just basically for being a really good life influence on me. I feel like, college for me was a big adjustment. I think I made a lot of changes, and I think a lot of positive. And I think it wasn't just about what I was doing here. I think it was the people that were around me and the influence that I got. When I first left college to play, other than playing pro soccer, I had a dream of being an entrepreneur. That was my plan. Actually, it's pretty ironic because I remember being in this room and I had housing for college. I was going to start this apartment website, and they were going to advertise it, and I was driving around, videotaping things. And I remember being here for a career fair, or the housing fair, and I had the big sign, and I was optimistic. And I worked a little bit on that, and then kind of dabbled into real estate, and got it pretty serious as soon as I got out of college. And that's really what I was going to do. I mean, I was going to be a real estate guy, and I was going to coach soccer to make sure I was paying the bills between sales, and then life changed. And I know I really, I was here for soccer. That's the one thing. If I didn't play soccer, I probably didn't go to college. I don't get that degree. And life hit me with some different things, and I had to make adjustments. If I didn't have that degree, I thought I was going to be an entrepreneur for life, and I found out, wow, I need a job that I can get insurance. I need a degree to get that. So I really thank, everyone here and Paul specifically for, because I think he knew what I was here for. As much as I worked hard, if the class was business and he was teaching about real life things, I was at every class. If it was about art and I could pass without being there, I might not have been there. There's one family I thought that really helped kind of move me in the direction where I am today, and that's the Briggs family. Mary Beth, I want to thank you so much for taking a chance on me. I was young and upcoming coach, but she'd been at Hershey Soccer Club for a long time and really built that program. I, to this day, give their family a lot of credit for that. They took a chance, gave me an opportunity, And I think, that spurred me to, again, stay in the club game, which I love, getting to work with the young kids. Don't really enjoy the parent side of it as much. That's kind of the benefit of college. But the youth it's where it's at. You don't have to be worried about wins and losses. It's about development. And you gave me that opportunity. I think that's the reason I'm able to say I'm a college coach today. I don't think I would have done that without that. Also with Andy, I think you are a great mentor and a wonderful coach. Still trying to, I want to follow your commitment to your players, your professionalism, and your sideline demeanor. I think I've got two of those somewhat covered. I'm working on the sideline demeanor, but you really are an example to many of us, and I appreciate all the mentorship you've given me. David Amber, you're the most caring and supportive grandparents a father could ask for. I think you raised an amazing daughter, and you care for Austin and Sophia unbelievably. You just love them to death, and I can't say how much I appreciate that. Dave, you're honestly one of the best men I know, and I hope I can emulate you. This is the hard part. Mom, thank you so much. You've been the hardest worker I've ever met in my life. You raised 8 kids and somehow still found a way to be at everything for us. And it was just, I can't tell you how much and how impressed I've been by what you're able to accomplish and how you handled yourself. I've tried to learn from you. I think I've gotten some of that work ethic. And when Paul talks about me being competitive, you don't want to be sitting next to my mom at a 4th grade basketbal game, a 7th grade soccer game. I try to remind her that that's when kids all should play. But she's a little competitive, and I think that obviously has grown on me. My dad, he was just truly, I think, a great man. I think he sacrificed. We moved around a lot growing up because he didn't put work first. Brilliant guy, brilliant. But in the end, he didn't care about the corporate ladder. He wore the shirt and tie, but as soon as he got out of there, he was wearing sweatpants, and he was known for that. And I appreciate some of that, hey, it doesn't matter. I'm just going to be the person I am. I think I learned a lot from that. But he put his family first. There's no question. I'm one of 8, and all 8 of us would say, yeah, our dad was a great man, and he just put us first. And as much as I've got workaholic in me, I hope that, at the end of everything that, my kids will be able to say, yeah, despite what you might have done, with the work world or off, that, they'll know that my kids will know, hey, Dad put us first, because he definitely did. Paul, you kind of killed me with that line. Usually I don't even have any notes, and I kind of just go from the heart. As my wife's giving me looks this year, like, you're just rambling on, you're not following the speech. Keep doing this. But the stories I can tell about my time and experience with Paul, obviously I'm going to hold those back because I want to make sure I get out of here okay. But I was really dreaming about being a D1 player, a long time. You just all of us have this D1, got to go D1. And when Paul recruited me at a high school game, it was my backup. I went to a couple of visits, went to my D1 pick, had a horrible time, and I came here, and I might have been here half a day, and it was sold. I didn't even think about D1 ever again. And as I coach now, I tell kids about the experience you can get at D2 and D3, because I think it's about having an opportunity to play. Now the funny thing is, I was a little nervous about that, believe it or not. I know it's kind of crazy sitting here as a Hall of Famer. That's kind of crazy to sounding, but when I walked into the first meeting after for the first preseason, the first thing I remember, I walk in this big conference room over at Nelson. 3 coaches are there. I'm just a little freshman, all nervous. And I start walking towards him, and he goes, "Turn around, shut the door." I thought I was done. My career was over. I literally walked thinking I am cut, and it's about to happen. Fortunately, that wasn't the case. I've always said that soccer talent's subjective, and players need a coach and a chance. And, you were both for me. You really gave me those opportunities, and I'll never forget that. Your love and passion for the game, I've never seen a coach that matches that. And I think that's why we got along so well. Probably why we butted heads sometimes, because we wanted everything. We just wanted to win it, and not at all costs. And I'll kind of get into that because the one thing that I don't think you probably do know And he did say it, I wish I could go back in time and soak up the knowledge that I know he has now. I wish I could go back and be that 18-year-old who was just begging to learn what he had. I worked really hard and I took some of it in, but if I could go back in time and do that, and I tell the kids that all the time, and I do mean that, Paul, because I know you have knowledge that I just was an idiot and didn't pick up. But there is one thing I did pick up, and I think this was, it was about soccer and it was about life. At one point, we were number 8 in the country my sophomore season, and we were about to lose our first game to Lock Haven. We're down 2-0. Everybody's cheap shotting me. It's kind of how it goes, and I might have misplaced my elbow in the final couple minutes, and everybody saw it but the referees. I made sure of that. And Paul very lightly and calmly told me that I should never do that again, and it wasn't quite that light, but the message was heard. And honestly, I can say, and I know those players that played with me way after and in the pros that will never believe it, that's the last time I ever didn't play ball. That was the moment that I was within the rules of the game to the extent, I'm not saying I didn't push and pull and, play within the boundaries, but, I had those issues and you made me have that self-control, and I think I've kept that ever since, and that was a moment. I remember it was a change, and I go back, it's the coaching story I tell so many kids about how this was the moment that I stopped being that guy, and it was because of what you told me, and I think that wasn't just about soccer, that was about life and getting that self-control, and I really appreciate you for that. Many of my teammates probably wouldn't believe that I'm standing here today, and many of the coaches that I had here wouldn't believe it, but, Paul Payne gave me a coach, he was the coach and a chance for me, and he's the reason I'm here, and just really want to thank you for that. The one page I didn't get to on the drive up, so I got to wing this completely, is the most important, and it's my family and my wife, Kelly. When we met actually here at Bloomsburg. It was a special, again, very special place. I mean, those things just don't go away. I'll never forget, we were in our puppy love stage, and that summer I was playing for the PDL, and she came down and visited me at Kutztown. I think we did a day at the amusement park, and at the end she was exhausted, and I was ready to go work out and play some basketball. I said, we would pick up basketball at Kutztown. I love that. And that was the first time I remember her getting mad at me, because I came back, it was supposed to be about 45 minutes, an hour workout. I think 2.5 hours later I showed up. Some really good games that day. And I'll never forget that was the first time she said she was mad at me. And I bring that up because despite the coaching lifestyle and the work ethic and the time you have to put in, you've been there for me. You've allowed me to do what I love. You've dealt with the late nights. You've dealt with the weekends and the missing the birthdays and everything that goes along with being a coach, as well as a player, which I did extend a little, probably too far, but I just couldn't help it. And you allowed me to do that, and I wouldn't be here without you. I love you so much, and I just thank you for everything and the opportunity you've given me to be a coach and try to follow in some of these great men's footsteps. So thank you so much for everything. I really appreciate it. Thanks for being here. Oh, I got a point. And most importantly, other than my wife, my little daughter, Sophia. Sophia, are you there? Sophia, I hope one day, I hope you get to actually take my job and be the head coach, but as we're working in, you can be my assistant. I know you said one day you'll want to be a coach, but I love everything you do for me, and even though Daddy works really hard, and as much as I love soccer and coaching, I'd rather be home with you.